Never mind the idea of people sleeping rough, as though it's politically incorrect to use the term homeless nowadays. I'm a thinker, so I understand the origins of our language. But when it comes to getting the community to press for solutions, more often than not, the more familiar term that immediately conveys a situation is best. You might not associate living rough with freezing to death, but when the temperature drops, that's precisely what can happen to the homeless. Hi, I'm Joe Ward of Boxer Shorts Media, and what's more embarrassing for me as a resident of the CBRM than the lack of flexibility and adaptive practical thinking is the idea that we can risk people dying while practical solutions have already been adopted elsewhere. I'm going to talk about the Humanity Project in Little River, New Brunswick, but for a reality check, politicians keep reminding us that we live in Unamagi, but don't understand that the First Nations people come from an ancestry that knew how to survive harsh climates through the winter, and they did it with structures to stay warm. Somehow, if we suggest that a shed package from one of the local vendors could be retrofit, it would be an insult to the dignity of people sleeping in tents behind needs convenience. In Little River, New Brunswick, there's now a camp set up on some land with 21 units of what they call tiny homes. But I assure you, they're smaller than what a typical tiny home is today. They're basically shed-like structures, but they're structures to keep people who need them safe and warm. And I cannot possibly be convinced that we can't rapidly insulate some shed packages whenever we have some laydown space, get some heavy-duty generators, some smaller units, and keep these things heated for survival. But it's as if nobody thinks there's a solution unless the government says they'll write a $10 million check for some project that'll be done building 30 units in a couple of years. Imagine unzipping a tent behind needs and saying, "Good news, I know you're cold, but if you can hang on until 2026, we'll have a few new units coming. And if you can give me your name, I'll put you on the waiting list." Remember some counselors visited an outside camp to get the idea or the feeling of being homeless? Great. I understand the value in that exercise, but what has come of it? Why don't you go buy some shed packages and get any tradesperson around to tell you how to give it a basic insulating layer and install a light and a small electric heating unit running off an extension. Just figure it out. And you can hold a fundraiser at Center 200 and have the communications team give it the high-profile marketing treatment by sharing it on the CBRM Facebook page once, like usual. But yes, local musicians will show up pro bono like they always do when needed, and community will come through. Just tell the bylaw folks to zip their lips and exercise their discretion like they did when they waived the fine on the cab driver who was caught smoking in the cab. Easy peasy. Get out there and build some survival shacks. Put a big routed wooden sign from the makerspace that says Camp 340 to throw some shade at Houston, John Lohr, Brian Comer. But skip John White, you might need him to swing a hammer. But get something done. It'll be a hell of a thing to be proud of come next year when you're all scrambling to describe why you should be reelected, or why you're now ready to serve as MLAs or MPs instead, or why your legacy should be highly regarded if you're moving on. Or we can let people freeze to death. I guess that's your choice. To make sure you don't miss any upcoming episodes, subscribe now to Boxer Shorts Media via your choice of YouTube or Facebook.
Please hang up and try again.